On the outskirts of Tamworth in regional New South Wales, a historic cattle station has become the scene of a devastating international fraud.
With the amount of money, the amount of greed, lust, corruption, power, this has got underbelly written all over it.
730 has uncovered a scam centred on this vast farm called Currabubula Station and a company that relied on former state MP Daryl Maguire.
He got things done when others couldn't, but it was outside of his electorate.
Did you make money out of this, Mr Maguire?
Will you apologise to the public?
Daryl Maguire is the target of an explosive corruption investigation which last year revealed his secret long-term relationship with the Premier.
Mr Maguire was a colleague of 15 years. He was someone that I trusted, and that developed into a close personal relationship. Yep.
What did Gladys Berejiklian know about your business dealings?
The inquiry by the Independent Commission Against Corruption, or ICAC, exposed how the member for Wagga Wagga wheeled and dealed for a network of Chinese-born business figures. One of them was an awarded farming entrepreneur called Jimmy Liu, whose business has left a trail of destruction across Australia.
Mr Maguire over the years has provided assistance to your company, is that right?
I help a lot.
Daryl Maguire shared details of his dealings with Mr Liu in tapped calls with Gladys Berejiklian, but she didn't report the conversations.
So they've invited all these people to shake hands and suck dicks, right?
And they seem to think it's in your electorate. I didn't say anything.
Mr Maguire told the Premier he was in debt. He wanted a job with Jimmy Liu after politics.
I'm poor, I'm telling you, 1.59 million poor. Just repeat after me, 1.5 million.
I'm not going to say any such thing.
Anyway, I'll tell you tonight, Jimmy made me an offer.
All right, well, you stay away, please.
Maybe she is saying, stay away from Mr Liu. Maybe she's saying, stay away from me. But I've got a feeling that the Premier should be brought in and asked to try and refresh her memory, because we need to know how much at the top level of New South Wales politics was known.
Jimmy Liu's company, United World Enterprises, or UWE, reaped riches from the Chinese trade boom as a middleman for Australian farmers.
Looking forward to see you, mate.
His former general manager, Stephen Foote, is speaking out to accuse UWE of widespread fraud against investors and taxpayers. He says the company falsified claims to the tax office and promised investors impossible gains.
They were essentially chefs. They were cooking the books. UWE essentially was just a Ponzi scheme.
Internal records obtained by 730 also reveal a company run by Daryl Maguire, Gateway International, was on UWE's books as a supplier. Gateway International promised to sell influence and experience that would reach to the highest levels of government.
My name is Jimmy Liu.
At the ICAC inquiry, Mr Liu insisted his only payments to Mr Maguire were a $1,400 cheque and a trip to China.
Yes.
By 2017, Jimmy Liu was deep in debt, and he found new business partners at an aged care company in China. As it turned out, that company was running an elaborate scam, and it wanted government support in New South Wales.
The company, called Haichan, promised grand retirement villages and aged care resorts across China. Haichan convinced hundreds of pensioners to invest in projects that never existed and took them on tours of facilities it didn't own, hounding them for more money month by month.
We always stay true to our vision. Take from society and give back to all human beings.
In May 2017, Jimmy Liu asked Daryl Maguire to arrange an official ceremony in Parliament House for a deal with Haichan for an Australian expansion. Government figures came to witness the signing of the deal for Haichan's first international resort on Mr Liu's farm, Currabubula Station.
It was going to be essentially developed to place cottages or villas where essential people or retirees from China could come and stay on the property.
In China, Haichan launched a promotional blitz, claiming it was going global with Australian government backing.
可以说极少几乎没有一个企业能在新州的国会大厦签约。
Daryl Maguire's role was instrumental. It was using his political office, his political position, and actually the facilities of the Parliament itself to give some credibility to the whole of the project, which it otherwise wouldn't have.
In Shanghai, retiree Liu Jinghui sold her home and gave $800,000 to Haichan, convinced the scheme had government approval in Australia.
This Australian MP, I want to say to him, because of your actions, so many old people have lost their homes. You have caused economic loss.
Many of Haichan's victims now have no money for healthcare. Some have died. 84-year-old Tang Longhai couldn't support his wife and lost his son to cancer.
What happened to me was really sad. My son died and my wife died because of this.
According to Chinese court documents obtained by 730, Haichan defrauded more than 900 victims of at least $46 million. The victims believe the true figure is up to 3 times higher. At least 16 staff at Haichan have been jailed over the fraud, but the 2 executives who ran the con and signed the deal with Jimmy Liu are still free. The stolen money has never been found.
We now suspect they took the money to Australia. The money should be brought back and given back to these people who were ripped off.
As the scam was unravelling in 2018, Stephen Foote discovered UWE was receiving millions of dollars in unexplained transfers. It's not known whether the payments were connected to the Haichan deal.
I literally have no idea where the money came from because we were insolvent. The response that I was given was that it's come from China.
This year, UWE went into administration and Jimmy Liu was declared bankrupt, owing at least $15 million. The ABC hasn't seen evidence that Mr Maguire knowingly assisted any fraud or that he or Mr Liu knew Haichan was running a scam. They didn't respond to 730's questions. The ICAC heard Mr Maguire spoke of UWE or Mr Liu in at least 7 calls with the Premier. She also declined to answer 730's questions, but last year denied knowing what UWE was.
If I understood that anything wrong was going to take place, of course I would have taken action, but can I make clear I had no idea what UWE meant?
Obviously, ICAC has got to reopen the matter and ask some further questions of Mr Maguire, and I also believe the Premier. It seems to have led to no action or prosecution of people here in Australia. The relevant police authorities must look immediately to see whether or not there's been anything of a criminal nature here.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.